this chick way back. I knew this chick way back. Them was the good times, you know what I mean, right? Yeah. You know, laying back and shit. You know, that was when the buildings was open and shit. A lot of different things going on back then and shit. You know, a lot of things changed. Shit. A lot of niggas ain't even around right now. A lot of niggas ain't even here. Thinking about the times even coming up. A lot of my niggas locked down, throwing up. A lot of different times, a lot of different grinds. A lot of niggas ain't around. A lot of times going bad right now. Thinking about the times right now when I was young coming up. A lot of niggas raised me when I was coming up back then. I didn't have no father back then when I was coming up back then. Thinking about my mother, was so hard back on her back then. Never looked about the time, thinking about the time coming up. Even though I dropped out of high school, back then I was coming up. Thinking about the times back then when my father abandoned my mother. When I was only 5, he only met both my brothers. Thinking about every time when I was coming up. Thinking about the times when the niggas taught me how to roll blunts. I'm out here bullshitting out here, got fucked around, had kids. Selling dope, catching cases, who a picture me be right here. Past 25 out here thinking about the times. Started catching cases past 25, the life of crime. Started catching cases back then. A lot of niggas don't remember me out there back on the streets. From hellin' pistols, bullshitting back then. From smoking blunts, bullshitting, fucking my niggas. At Honeycomb Hideouts, fucking with my niggas. Late night dice games, goddamn didn't want to come home. Bullshitting, fucking around, got on the run. Never came back home to my mother every time when I was back young. Understand, fucking around back then. Looking at the times back then. Coming up from catching cases. Bullshit from jumping out of peeling cars, fucking with my niggas. Being on the run, having wars out there getting money. Trying to get rich, fucking with them bitches from living bummy. Thinking about them times from coming up from smoking blunts, living the time. Out there bullshitting, fucking around when I never got a chance to meet my father when I was coming up. From smoking blunts, goddamn it, making moves when I was coming up. Started traveling, bullshitting, started fucking with a couple niggas. Once I started catching the case, I started fucking, got so low. Started moving around, making moves, started being dolo. You know this game, come trust no one, suspect everyone, homie. You know, living my times when I was coming up. Thinking about the times when I was fucking with my niggas back coming up. Thinking about the times when I was back then, come from high school. Thinking about the times, them times were so sad. Even though I went to a lot of funerals back then coming up. R.I.P. to a lot of niggas I never got to see in this lifetime. A lot of my niggas locked down worldwide, nationwide. Any person can feel this track, I hope you can say something right down. Picture the time coming back, kicking with that same nigga. From sitting on the porch and fucking with that old real nigga. He ain't that same nigga, can't you see him so no more? Cause right now he locked down and he ain't around no more. He probably off in the grave, but R.I.P. for my man. I hope it's a special song out here if you can feel this, man. This go for out there for a lot of my niggas back then. From locked up out there, from rolling blunts coming up. Even if you out there from sipping a brew right then. From out there bullshitting, kicking with another nigga and give him some wisdom. Back then when I was young, niggas was giving me the wisdom. Giving me the game when I was coming up. I'm just trying to pass it. Just like a blunt right now, like a nigga like smoking. Pass a Newport like niggas joking, fucking around back then. Thinking about the time I was coming up, I remember. Thinking about the fireworks, thinking about the old picnics. Coming up back then, bullshitting, walking around back then. Thinking about bullshitting, throwing rocks back then. Throwing them at street cars, running from the police.